Thank you for joining my channel. We are discussing here every day different topics. I'm registered psychotherapist practicing in Ontario, and uh, I'm following your questions and trying to create some content about questions that you are asking, topics that you are asking. And today we will be discussing about perfectionism, what's happening in your brain when perfectionist features are appearing, and what you can do to decrease perfectionism and to take steps despite uncomfortable feelings or these unhelpful patterns that you are having. So, perfectionism doesn't always produce excellence, it often produces chronic stress. And clinical perfectionism research by Ross Shafran shows that over evaluation of performance can maintain anxiety. However, solution-focused therapy research shows that small behavioral shifts can create disproportionate psychological change. So, today I will help you to understand yourself better, what's causing your perfectionism behavior, and what you can do in order to help yourself to decrease perfectionist threats and to mm, maintain your motivation and to keep going, doing and achieving what you want to achieve. If you've ever delayed starting something because it wasn't ready or felt that mistakes define your worth, this conversation is for you. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be real. So, we are talking about something very common, yet often praised as a strength perfectionism. Many people describe it as I'm detail oriented, I like doing things properly, I don't settle for average. However, do you really want quality or are you trying to avoid the possibility of making a mistake? When you will ask and try to understand what's causing your perfectionism, oftentimes you would notice that under perfectionism there is a fear of being criticized or fear of making mistakes, and asking yourself, is it serving for you in the long run, and how what you would like to have instead if you are not having these perfectionist features, and if they were not impacting you, what could be different, what you would like to achieve instead. Because perfectionism is not always about high standards, often it's about high anxiety. And if this conversation was useful for you, what kind of change you would like to see with yourself, and what will be different tomorrow? What would you like to gain? Is it more clarity, more freedom, more calm? So, if perfectionism wasn't the factor that was controlling your behavior or controlling your performance, what could be different? If you could keep your standards but reduce anxiety, what that give you? What do you hope will change in the way you relate to mistakes, making mistakes, being criticized? And by the end of this session, what would you tell? Um, what would tell you that this was worth your time? And if this session helps, how would your leadership might feel different? What would other people notice about you that's being different? What would improve in your decision making if perfectionism had less control? So asking yourself these questions can help to understand what kind of change you want to see. Oftentimes we concentrate and focus on the problem and we get stuck in the problem. However, we forget uh, to think and to question about what we want instead. So, what is perfectionism? There are two types of perfectionism. One of them can be caused by healthy high standards, and the other one can be driven by anxiety-driven perfectionism. So, if you are noticing any perfectionist features within you, maybe this doesn't cause you any problem. Maybe it's just helping you to succeed. However, oftentimes perfectionism leads to overdoing, overworking, or on the contrary, avoiding, trying things, or procrastinating. And in healthy striving, mistakes don't destroy self-worth, but in anxiety-driven perfectionism, mistakes can be linked to feelings of worthlessness, feelings of anxiety, and flaws can be interpreted as inadequacy, and criticism can be felt as a threat. So, goal is not excellence, the goal is avoiding shame. If perfectionism wasn't dictating your actions, which version of you would you like to see instead? What would let you know that this brave, calm, or confident or consistent version of you would be there? What could be different for you? What progress would be possible if you could be the version of you that you want to become. So, what's happening in the brain? When a perfectionist starts a task, the brain generally asks, what if it's not good enough? And at that time, amygdala activates, cortisol rises, the body tightens, and two common outcomes are generally present. First of all, first of them is over control. This might be in the uh, this might be seen as overworking, over controlling, over checking, trying to make everything perfect, or it can be in the form of procrastination or avoiding. So many cases of procrastination are fueled by perfectionism. For instance, maybe you have thoughts such as, if it can't be perfect, I won't start. And imagine if perfectionism no longer was dictating your decisions, what would be the first small sign that you are making progress? How would you approach a task differently? How would your team notice that you are being less perfectionist and taking steps towards your goals or what you want to achieve? And what would be different about the way you respond to possible mistakes or criticism? And if anxiety was quieter, what would happen to your energy levels, and how you could use this energy and your time to your attention if you were not thinking about what might go wrong or what might happen if you don't do things perfectly. Uh, Imagine a person who is knowledgeable and capable, but each time they are overworking and trying to do their work perfectly. What if people see, and maybe they have some thoughts such as, what if people see that I'm not good enough? And the problem is not about quality, but here the problem is about identity. Maybe you are afraid to seem unqualified or not good enough. And this might be related with beliefs that you have about yourself. So, kindly noticing what's exactly causing you these feelings and why you have these perfectionist features can help you to become aware of these patterns and to think about what you would like to do instead and to take small steps towards it. So, the psychological loop under perfectionism might look this way. For instance, maybe you have high standards and then anxiety arises and you start to overanalyze or delay, and this might make you feel exhausted, burnout, and further can lead to self criticism. And perfectionism doesn't produce excellence, it produces chronic stress in this case. However, there are always some moments when problems are less, and thinking about exceptions can help to create new insights and strategies that you are already using to help yourself to support yourself. For instance, when does perfectionism bothers you less? In which area of your life are you already good enough? You feel that you are capable, or you don't care much about whether you are making mistakes or not making, and you can easily start over again, and this doesn't impact your progress. And when have you made a fast decision that worked out, even not overanalyzing, overthinking? You can try to write down three things you delayed lately because you felt that they weren't good enough, and ask yourself what 70% have been enough. And often the answer is yes. However, your inner voice always demands 100%, and this can be one of the reasons why you procrastinate, why you avoid, and why it's difficult to stay consistent with your goals. So, we can try to transform the steps. For instance, when you feel that you are ready for 70%, you can try to start, finish, and to send it or to take action. And you can try to allow yourself to make more mistakes and be okay with it. And oftentimes, anxiety arises when we are trying to avoid mistake, when we are overdoing, overchecking, over controlling. However, when if you think about the worst scenario, what might happen if you make a mistake? You can improve the mistake, you can repair it, you can do it again. And oftentimes, this fear of making mistakes keeps us stuck. On the other hand, if we could take action, considering that we can make mistakes and we can do it again, maybe it will be possible to stay more consistent and to take more action, accepting that we can make mistakes. And paying attention to your inner dialogue and inner critique, what your mind is telling you when you are making mistakes, which thoughts you have about yourself, and are they real? Are they being helpful for you? And if they are not serving your purpose, if they are not helping you to achieve your goals and the version of you that you want to achieve, how you would like to speak to yourself instead. And it can be also possible that maybe the standards that you are putting to yourself are too high. Other standards are realistic, and how might look more realistic version of it. Also, setting a time limit. Limit yourself how long are you going to spend on certain task, because oftentimes this urge to overanalyze or control might be causing you staying stuck in one task for too long, and that might be causing procrastination of other tasks and keeping you stuck from making progress and being consistent and taking action. And also becoming aware of thoughts, self-limiting thoughts, or any thoughts that are related to your identity. What will happen if you make a mistake, if you don't do it perfectly? If there is a thought that's related with your identity, becoming aware that this is not close to reality, and thinking about times when you succeeded and that making any mistake or doing anything imperfectly doesn't impact who you are, and it's not such a big problem as it seems, and it's not about character. Mistake is related with behavior, and it can be changed, repaired, improved over time, and becoming aware of it can also help to decrease resistance and to help yourself to take steps even when you don't feel ready, or even knowing that things might not go perfect as planned. So, what prevents perfectionism from being even stronger? How have you managed to succeed despite this stress, and what strengths allow you to keep going even when you don't feel ready, even when you want to do things perfectly? And paying attention to those moments can help you to find resilience, strengths, and skills that you are already using, and to use them again to overcome the areas where you feel these perfectionist trends are appearing, and that you would like to change. So, perfectionism might be whispering that to be worthy, you need to be flawless, but worth doesn't require flawlessness. Human connection is built through vulnerability, not perfection. Now, I hope this video was helpful for you to see perfectionism from different lights, and to become aware what's holding you back, and to motivate you for taking action even when you don't feel ready, or even when you want things to be perfect, or even when you want yourself to be perfect. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave it in the comments. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be real. And if this video resonated with you, so don't forget to subscribe. Where would 70% be enough in your life? In the next videos, we will continue to explore about burnout, whether it's a lack of motivation or is it a nervous system alarm. Thank you for your time, and see you in the next videos.